Okay. So India geographical setting. So Himalayan mountains are in the north, Ghats mountains in east and west. So India is a subcontinent plateau. Monsoon seasonal rains with rain hit India. So India have many rivers, but there are two main rivers: the Ganges River and Indus River. And here you can see. So at first, it start with the Indus Valley civilization, the first settlement in 3000 BCE. So when the farmers sailed out along the Indus Valley rivers, is right here, and they developed what we call the two large city of India civilization, the Harappa and Mohenjo. You can see this is two main city here along the Indus river that drain what we call the Indus Valley civilization. Okay, here's the Harappas and Mohenjo. By the time of 2500 BC, the entire regions was dominated by these two cities. And here, what the demand of these two civilized city, and here is the civilization affect to the nearby area. So they trade with the Aryan and neighboring regions in India to the east, and they trade with the Persian Gulf and Sumer to the west. So this here. And for the political structure, they have the villages, cities, which were never politically united, but they share common language and culture. And so this is very similar to Mesopotamia and China. So the region was united only by trade, and they have the writing system of this seal. So these are the sample, and the trading seal. Writing developed from early trading seal, which had the merchant's name and the symbol of trade items, like this here. You can see those sample, and here they have the peaceful items like toy jewelry. So the toy cow with moldable head, and jewelry made of gold, outlets, jasper, and garnet. And they do what we call the wheel technology between 2300 to 2200 BCE, and this is standard weight and measurements based on the ratio of 1/16. So this is weight and measurement. And the first civilization to cultivate the cotton and make cotton clothing here in this area. So they create the first matrilineal society. That means female-led society. And the city has what they call the sewer system, because they have the bath That was the essential part of their religion. So when they came to the religious center, they need to take a bath. So that's why they create this type of bathing place for them. And here they have what we call the red bath tanks that were used for purification of the body and soul. So where they came down to take a bath. And religious beliefs were centered on the idea of afterlife. So the bodies were built with the personal items. You can see the skeleton and other artifacts. And humpback boar symbolize the leader, that strong and strength that protect the people. And the priests, they have this symbol that meditate in yogic style to become connected with their own God here. And so around 1500 BC, the Indus culture were conquered by the Aryan, and the one that came from the Far East, to conquer that area. And they were nomadic people who migrated into the Indus valleys from Central Asia. So they introduced iron and the horse carried to India, like here. And here the new Aryan ideas, they established what we call new government system, but they have no complex structure. They only group in clans that were ruled by warrior chiefs. They call Raja. So here is along India. So the Aryan tribes settled in different regions of northwestern India. So the tribes were called Gana, that means collection of people. So the chief of each tribes took the job as the hereditary job. So they have the final say on decision, but they need to listen to communities of people. And so they develop what we call the Sanskrit or Hindi, that's the new language, as well as the literatures. So they brought with them what we call Vedas, and the book of knowledge. So they are the collection of poems and sacred hymns composed around 1500 BC that describes the belief and daily life of the Aryan people. So again, between 1500 to 1000 BC, that was called the Vedic period. And these were two Aryan epics, and what we call Ramayana and the Mahabharata. So these two epics were composed around 1000 BC. So they are the stories about Aryan life and the war during that period of time. So that's why from 1000 to 500 BC is called the epic period. So the Ramayana tells the story that a good king, Rama, killed the evil king of the Aryan, Ravana. So they have a new education system. So basically a guru teach the children. So every student, including the chieftain, have to follow the guru or the teachers. So our education system based on verbal or oral teaching. So they are really religious, and they have the new marriage traditions. So after a female got married, she got a red dot in the forehead. So let's go back to the Aryan traditions of having a groom apply a spot of his blood onto his bride forehead. So that is the sign of marriage. So when the Aryan moved to India, they want to control the local people. That's why they drew the social hierarchies, what we call the caste system. So in the caste system, they let me skip here. The caste system, they drew what we call the first class. That's the Brahmin. That means the priest class, the highest class. And the second one is the royal class, the one that control politics around the country. And the third is the merchant class of business people, working people. And the last one is the slave class that serve the order of three classes, and later on they have what they call untouchable class too. We will study later on. So basically, when we talk about Hinduism, so the origin of this tradition are unknown, going back to the early Bronze Neolithic period. So basically, Hinduism was not inspired by a single individual event. So it's a combination of all many religions, beliefs, traditions, God, and ancient India. So even there's many types of gods, but in Hinduism they still consider Brahman is the supreme God, and of course it's considered as the polytheistic belief, but still they consider the most supreme God as Brahman. And basically they have three main deities: the Brahma, the creators; Vishnu, the preserver; and Shiva, the destroyer. And Krishna was the ancient god of the Aryans, so he is believed to be an early prince who obtained nirvana. So the fundamental belief of Hinduism is that there's no set of dogma. So actually Hinduism is a set of beliefs with many different principles, theories, and basically they don't have any founders. So go back, the Upanishad, this the literature is composed between 800 to 500 BC. This was written by in Sanskrit. It provides several concepts fundamental to Hinduism. So in Hindu term, there's some term like Dharma, that means set up religious or ethical duties or responsibilities of Hindu people. And Karma, the effect of activities of it, Atman. So Atman, this is the soul of each individual. And Samsara, that's been the incarnation, the soul paths through a series of body from one lifetime to other. It's called Samsara. And they still have the idea of Nirvana. That's been the release from worldly life, and also the unification with their universal spirit, that means the Brahman. So according to Hinduism, a life cycle of especially a male one, when they were young, they will be educated by Hindu guru. So when they get in older, they will establish their families. They lead their families in the ways of Hinduism, and later on they will settle down their family matters when they get in older, so that they can have times to reflect on the Hindu teaching, as well as to find ways how to break the cycle of bad karma. So that's why they may let go of their families to go to the forest or mountain to do meditation, so that they could have connection with the universal spirit, that means their Brahman, so that they can attain what we call nirvana, or breaking the cycle of life and become one with universal spirit. That's their goal. So by the 7th century, personal prayer displayed the sacrifice of animals. So again, it may have some influence from Buddhism, that they established the temples and the shrines with house statue and pictures of God. So sometimes they still use the cave. So later on, Hinduism spread to the other South Asia countries like Cambodia, Vietnam, Indonesia, Thailand, but up to now they still have some popularities too. So how Hinduism spread to Southeast Asia. So they use military force or culture transmitted through trade, and the Brahmin priests could be invited by local Southeast Asia ruler. And when we talk about the caste system, so they were a collection of 1028 verses of poetry that called Rig Vedas, that talk about the original caste system. It also provide the reason for this caste system. And here again, like I mentioned recently, that they based on this social division of the caste system to divide people. So the first one is the Brahmin, that means the priest or the leaders, and the second one is the Kshatriya, that means warrior or royal class, and the third is the Vaishya, the merchant, business people, and the fourth is Shudra, that means the farmers or the slave, and the last one is untouchable or non-iron people. So each iron types in each the tribes people belong to one of the first four groups. So they work depend upon their social status, and they were classified in those caste system, and they cannot change their social status. So it's impossible for them to change. So again, this Vedas provide the religious justification to social system to separate people by the occupation and ethnicity. So it's more than 2,000 years. This caste system became extreme rigid, unequal, and hierarchies. So there's no intermarriage among those caste system, and the education was limited to the upper class only. So they put the reason why they have this caste system, because they want to control the mass, especially the upper class of the Brahmin, the priests. They want to control politics. They want to control the economic system. So it was imposed by a coalition of priests and warrior kings to maintain the control over the public, the people. So it was created as an alternative to open slavery. So there's a basic information about ancient India as well as Hinduism. So next one, let's move on to the life of the Buddha. As during this week we talk about. The Buddha was born into what we call the Shakya clans of Hindu region in India. So you see here the Kapilavastu here, and this is in the northern part of India, and this part, Lumbini, where the Buddha was born, now belong to Nepal. The Shakya clans, they form as an independent republican state. So they have their capitals in Kapilavastu. This system of administration is adopted by Constitution of India later on too. So here is the place where the Buddha was born. The Buddha was born in this Shakyan clans, and his prince name is Siddhartha. So of course he was founder of Buddhism. Later on he was known as Gautama Buddha. So he was son of Suddhodana, who was elected as the leader of Shakyan Republic. So according to most traditions, Buddha was born into that royal Hindu family, and he was the son of Queen Maya, who was a Korean princess. So it said that before he was born, his mother, Queen Maya, had a dreams that a white elephant enter her right side of the body, and later on she wake up and told the king. So the king invite some Brahmins to give the petition for his future son. And so there were 8 of them that were invited into the courts to give the petition. So all of them would say that the future prince would become what they call the wheel turner, that means the red king. But only one mentioned that later on he would let go of his luxury life of the prince to seek for the truth, and eventually to attain Buddhahood, to become Buddha. And so here's the Nepal. Here the Lumbini. Lumbini is where the Prince Siddhartha was born. Here, and it say that when Queen Maya got pregnant, and when it's time for her to give birth, so she asked her husband permission to go back to visit her parents. That is the traditions. But on the way to Lumbini, she stopped by at this place and gave birth to Prince Siddhartha. That is why they established here the stupa here. And this the place where he was born. And later on, King Ashoka erected this pillar to indicate where the Buddha was born. Now it still exists in India, and here they indicate or found the exact birthplace of Gautama Buddha right here in Nepal, Lumbini. So it says that when he grew up, he developed as a compassionate and wise child. And so according to the legend, it says that when he was about only 10 years old, so one day when he went together with his fathers as a king to attend the plow ceremony with the farmers, somehow he took up and sat under a trees to enter the first stage of meditative state of mind. So later on, his father walked around and they could not find him. So eventually they approached to that trees and found that he sat under that tree to do meditation. So he, at that time, he contemplated while he was sitting there. He contemplated the cycle of life. That when the farmers plow the earth, and the birds catch the worms, that means the big beings kill the little one, and that's how life is about. And one of the story to illustrate how compassionate he was, he rescued a swan that was shot down by his cousin Devadatta. And when he getting older, you see the scene here. His father erected 3 palaces for him: the winter, the fall, and the summer for him to enjoy his life, with the purpose of keeping him back to the secular life. So here, so the king, his father Suddhodana, provide him all kind of entertainments to keep him in the palace, so that eventually he could become the next king. That's what his father hoped. But somehow later on, at the age of 19, he got married